It's me, Lexi. I'm in the US. And I thought we would do some more meal prep today. I canned a big batch of enchilada sauce earlier this week, and I had a couple jars not seal. So what should I do but make a few enchilada freezer meals? Want to make them with me? I already boiled and shredded about 3.5 pounds of chicken. I didn't pre-weigh it out this time. I figured that you didn't need to watch that. I just took thawed out chicken breast, pot of boiling water for about 40 minutes, let it cool a bit so I didn't burn myself, and shredded it up with 2 forks. It's sitting in the fridge right now. We'll deal with that in a few minutes. But we've got this whole mess of vegetables to deal with. So let's get chopping. Figure we'll start with some onions. Didn't get a knife. I've got 2 huge onions and 1 partial smaller onion that was left over from dinner tonight. We're just going to stack everything in here. I think this is the first time that I've done a video with my hair up. I never put it up, but it's really, really warm today. And since I had that chicken going, my kitchen just really warmed up a lot. But usually I go 1 regular sized onion per batch of enchiladas. And just like when we did the lasagna video, I'm going to do 4 of these. Why am I going to do 4 of these? I have 4 pans. But I ended up with some absolutely monstrous onions here. So I'm going to count each of these as 2 onions. And then with that extra one, that gives me roughly 1 onion per batch. So I am just going to get all these sliced up. You probably don't need, and I'm just going to slice them in long slices and let them break apart as they cook. I don't want them diced in here. I want long slices of onion that are going to like go travel down the length of the enchilada. I want things to kind of be the same shape. I don't know if that makes sense. All right. Next, I don't think I'm going to use all of these, but I have this lovely pile of gardenscapes that I pulled out of my garlic bed. And I figured let's throw some of these in there. Garlic tastes good, can't hurt. Garlic scapes just taste like garlic. What are they? Certain varieties of garlic produce a flower. And yeah, I know that doesn't look like a flower to me either, but it's a flower. And those are edible. So I'm going to chop them up and utilize everything that my garden gives me. I don't cook with these often, so I am going to chop them up pretty small because the last time I ate them, they were a little woody, and I don't know if I had big ones or if I cooked them wrong, but I'm going to cut these up pretty small so they end up pretty tender. Let's throw those in there. looks pretty good for being something I don't usually add. I'll just put the rest of these back in the fridge for another dish. And then, just like the onions, I like to do 1 pepper per batch, but this one's really tiny, so we're just going to throw him in too. And again, just like the onions, I'm just going to go with long strips. Just like that. And once you've seen me cut up 1 pepper, you've seen me cut them all, right? So I'll see you when these are done. Well, this is quite the pile of vegetables, isn't it? I transferred them into this bowl because I wanted to get that pan heating up over there on the stove. And I'm going to add this to it too. Does anyone recognize this? It's some shredded up frozen zucchini, also featured in our lasagna video. I'll link that below. Sorry I cut my head off in the entire thing. I've learned. We need learning experiences in life, right? I'm going to see if that pan's hot and add this stuff if it is. Now I'm going to let this saute and cook down for a little bit before I season it. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that when we're ready. In this other pan I have heating over here, that's where the chicken's going to go. Now the chicken's already cooked, so I can go ahead and season that. And I'm going to take 2 of these packets of enchilada seasoning. If you would rather season on your own, this has cumin, onion powder, salt, garlic. I hate when it just says spices. I'm sure there's paprika in here, and a bit of corn flour for thickening. I'm going to pour 2 of those packets in here. Excuse me. And then I'm going to add about 1 quart of water. I feel like I'm shouting over the sizzling of the vegetables. Sorry if it sounds like I'm shouting. Give this a stir. And we're going to just let that come to a boil and then simmer until most of the liquid is evaporated and everything is nice and juicy and yummy and tender and delicious. This needs a stir. Once these vegetables have cooked down, we're going to do the same thing. I've got 2 more enchilada seasoning packets, and we'll add some more water and we'll do the same thing to them. But I will see you at that point. I've gone ahead and turned the chicken off because all the water evaporated. The vegetables have cooked down nice and soft. So I'm going to go ahead and add the seasoning to them. Two packets of seasoning. And then for the vegetables, because there's still a lot of moisture in them themselves, I'm only going to add a pint, so half a quart of water. You just want enough that that seasoning gets fully dispersed into the vegetables. Give this a good stir. And then let it simmer until all the excess liquid is reduced. And then I'll see you for assembly. If you recognize this setup, it is the same as I used in the lasagna video. I'm going to pack these the exact same way. We start with 2 pieces of parchment paper with just little strips, and these are going to help you get them out after they're frozen. And then a piece of plastic wrap going one way. I hate plastic wrap. And a long piece of plastic wrap going the other way. By making them kind of long, it's going to let you wrap up the whole enchilada. Why don't I just freeze them in the pans? Because that would be easier. It would be easier. I have 4 pans. I don't want to buy 100 pans to be able to do freezer meals. Plus, the pans themselves take up space in the freezer. So I'd rather just put the food bricks in the freezer. Just going to tuck this down out of the way. And then put a piece of parchment paper in the bottom. And that just keeps the plastic wrap from getting stuck in the enchiladas themselves. Next for assembly, we need tortillas. Don't worry, I have more than one bag. I usually put 4 enchiladas per tray. If you are needing to make more than that at one time, use a bigger tray. And I'm just going to sort of place these in. As if they were tacos. And that'll let me, I have a fork. Here's my fork. You know what, let's divide this up evenly so that I make sure I put about the right amount in each tray. If we just mentally divide this into quarters, then I need to use 1/4 of meat per tray. Little bit of chicken. If you want to put beans in your enchiladas, you can. I do sometimes. I'm not doing it today. If you want pieces of chicken instead of shredded chicken, you can do that too. Or steak or braised beef. All of that would be tasty. But chicken enchiladas, and I made a mess, chicken enchiladas tends to be my default. That's about 1/4 of the chicken. Now let's do some vegetables. We'll mentally cut that into quarters too. You know what? I want a spoon. Let's pick these up. Tuck them in. I tend to go kind of vegetable heavy, but I know that very few of us get our recommended amount of vegetables in a day. I know I sure don't. And this cannot hurt. Okay, that's about a quarter. And I also don't put cheese in my enchiladas. I only put it on top. So I am going to carefully roll these up and kind of secure them so that they don't come open. I'm just going to turn them sideways so they keep each other closed. Just like that. And then some cheese. And then this is one of those jars of enchilada sauce that I said I made the other day that didn't seal. I've been storing it in my fridge until I got the chance to do this. But you can use any enchilada sauce you like. You can make it, you can buy it in a can, whatever works for you. I can link the recipe I use, but canning is one of those things that if it goes wrong, it goes really wrong. And you can make someone sick if you don't follow canning procedures and recipes to the T. So I don't feel comfortable teaching all of you how to can or how to produce canning recipes. So I will not be doing that. If you are interested in learning more about canning, there is a group on Facebook that has been very good to me. They are called, you know what, let me look it up because I don't want to get this wrong. The Original Safe Canning Recipe group. And there's a tomato emoji at the beginning and a corn emoji at the end. They have been very good at assisting me at my adventures in canning. So if you're interested in learning more about canning, I would check there. But I am going to continue to assemble these. And once you've seen it once, you've seen it 100 times, right? And you saw how I folded that up. You just kind of close it in on itself. So after I get the rest of these put together, I will come back to talk about how you would cook this. I'll see you in a few minutes. So we've got 3 lovely enchiladas packed up for the freezer, and this one is going to go in the fridge for dinner tomorrow. When you freeze these, you want to let them freeze for about 2 days. You want them good and solid. And then you can use these strips of parchment paper to help pop them out of the pans. And then put your food brick into a Ziploc bag and label it. We've been through this before. You say you will remember what's in it, and you never ever do. So just save yourself a headache and label it. And then when you go to cook these, you want to let it thaw first. So get it out of your freezer and unwrap it. You want to unwrap it while this is still frozen. Otherwise, again, you are going to have a giant headache and a giant mess on your hands. Unwrap it while it's frozen. Put it in the pan. Cover it with some foil. Let it thaw in your fridge. It's probably going to take about 2 days. These are pretty dense. And when you're ready to put it in your oven, put it in your oven at about 350 degrees. I believe that's 180 Celsius if you're in the UK or somewhere else that uses Celsius. And this is probably going to need to heat for maybe 45 minutes, maybe 30. Everything in here is cooked, so you're just going for hot. You can serve it with a side of rice, side of refried beans, a nice salad, whatever you like. Either way, you have a delicious meal ready with very little effort because you planned ahead and did all this effort at one time. Your future self will thank you. Is there anything that you want to see me meal prep, or any questions you have for me on meal prep, or any questions you have for me on anything, let me know down below. Let's have a conversation. And if you could give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.